I'm Blue Bailey.
And I'm Dexter DeNovo, and this is Reading is Fundamental.
The show where we talk about news in entertainment law.
Yes, that leather daddy.
And that drag queen
are both licensed California attorneys.
We celebrate queerness,
sex positivity,
and reading bitches for filth.
And with that being said,
the library is now open.
Officially.
The library is open.
Because reading is what? Fundamental.
Fundamental.
The information on this podcast is for general information purposes only. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as legal advice for any individual, case, or situation. This information is not intended to create an attorney-client relationship. Sorry about it.
What?
Fundamental.
G'day. I am Blue Bailey.
And I'm Dexter DeNovo.
And we're back in Burbank.
We're back in Burbank. Welcome back to the Reading is Fundamental podcast. We're back in Burbanks with the warm weather. You said it was an appropriate amount of heat.
It's an appropriate amount. We were in Las Vegas a little bit ago, and it was 105 degrees, and I don't know how many degrees it is here, but it's nice.
It's not 105. You are surprisingly bad at handling heat for somebody who grew up in Vegas.
People say that all the time, and I've grown up in air conditioning.
Yep.
I grew up when there was free parking and free valet.
Yep.
So you literally went from air conditioning in your car to the valet to air conditioning in the casino.
And smoke in the casino.
And then never had to deal with the heat.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. I mean, I grew up in the Southwest too, and it's like yes, it's hot outside, but you don't really like deal with the heat that much. You know what I mean? Unless you're like a poor person that has to like work outside, like poor.
Wow.
Oh no, like a poor soul that has to work outside.
Okay. Wow. Canceled within 2 minutes of the episode.
No. Like if your job is like, construction, it's like, oh my God, you're literally out there in over 100 degrees.
I actually took band in ROTC.
I did too.
To get out of PE, so I wouldn't have to be outside.
I
would have to be outside less.
You were able to replace band with PE.
PE with band, yeah.
My school did not have that. No.
Yeah.
I was outside in the heat. But I like the heat, and like I would be out like running cross country in 100 and whatever, like doing all the things, Like I liked it. And we were literally, we were walking across the street. It took us 5 minutes just to walk to the other casino. You guys were like dying. You're like, it's 106. We're about to die. How do people live here? Oh my God.
And you want to move there.
I do want to move there.
But after Continental.
After Continental.
Which, tell us about it. What's going on with that?
Oh my goodness, you guys. I did a Miss Continental preliminary pageant a couple weeks ago. And the winner and first runner-up get a free ticket to nationals, and I was first runner-up, so now I have a free ticket to nationals where it's literally
just a free ticket. You had to pay for everything else.
I have to pay for everything else. So it's, I think it's in like 10 days now.
So what is Continental?
Oh yeah, I didn't even explain. So Miss Continental's a pageant for female illusion,
it's a
female
scholarship program.
It's a scholarship program. It's a pageant. I don't even want to say it's a drag pageant. I think it's like mostly like a female illusion pageant.
Okay.
There's like a lot of big drag pageants like Miss Gay US of A, Miss Gay America, that type of thing. Entertainer of the Year. And Miss Continental is kind of one of those big five. It's held in Chicago every year. There's lots of very famous former Miss Continentals, like Brooklyn Heights and Naysha Lopez, Sasha Colby,
Vanessa Van Cartier,
yes,
and soon to be Dextra.
Probably not this time, but I don't have any expectation of winning. This is my first time. Literally, this will be my second time doing a pageant ever, and it's third time doing a pageant ever, and it's gonna be on a national, very everybody's gunning for it scenario. So I'm pretty nervous.
You're gonna do great. I'm excited. I'm going to Continental.
Yeah.
Like, not because of you. I'm going because I wanted to go. And it's just an
Yes.
added benefit that you're going.
I know. It's
So I'll be there to
crazy.
support.
It's really crazy to think that I will be there, and I'm like, oh, I won't. At least I won't know anybody. It's like, no, you're gonna be there.
Yeah. Cheering in the audience.
Yeah, the one person I have who's gonna be like, woo! You're really gonna boo, is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna walk out stage and be like,
I'm
who?
going to throw pearls on the stage.
Boo! Who is this? Why is she here?
I've been trying to. I mean, I'm a huge fan of drag, and I love Drag
Yeah.
Race. So I've always wanted to see Continental because that is like. Would you say it's the Olympics of drag before Drag Race came out?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like if you wanted to be the most famous
Yes.
drag queen in the world, you won Continental
Yeah.
before Drag Race.
Yeah,
Um,
before Drag Race, it was like that was the way to be known and to have a career and to really like make something of yourself, is to do these pageants because, like, if you win, then you kind of get booked to all the other preliminary pageants, or you get known as the winner of it, and so you get booked because of that. So it's like that was the way to kind of like make a living in
Like a
drag.
circuit.
Yeah, like that was a way to like kind of make a living in drag before Drag Race came around. So it is a big deal, and there's still people like to do it and stuff, but it's a full, like literally full on pageant. Like we are doing swimsuit, evening gown, what else, you tell me.
I don't. Yeah. I don't
Swimsuit,
remember.
evening gown, talent, there's an interview portion, and then if you get to the finals there's a Q&A.
Okay.
But there's 2 days of competition. If you make it to the finals after the first day of competition, you do the whole thing again, basically. And you are highly encouraged to bring 2 separate packages. So like if you bring one to prelims and you get through to finals, you're encouraged to have a whole second package ready.
That's expensive.
That's very expensive. Some of these girls are spending like $10,000 just on talent alone. Like they're doing props and backup dancers and choreographers and all those kinds of things.
Are you one of those girls?
I am not one of those girls.
Drag on a dime.
Literally. Well, that's
Well-
one of the things that like the day that they were like, okay, you're going, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so expensive. Like,
Is that why I didn't get a birthday gift?
yeah.
Yeah.
Bitch, I went to your birthday party in Vegas. I flew to Vegas for
I know. Yes,
you.
your presence was my gift.
The presence
Um,
was your gift.
I've been doing a lot of like kind of research. I started listening to Pageant Pod
Oh yeah, Patch Pod.
that like goes over the history of drag pageants before it got taken down.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed listening that Continental basically started because the other pageants at the time didn't allow trans contestants.
Yep.
It didn't even allow body modifications.
Yeah.
You were disqualified, so Continental started and became kind of a pageant for that community, which I think is kind of amazing.
Yeah, I've been telling people that I fully expect the large majority of the contestants to be trans women, and people are like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Even people who like drag and like know Miss Continental, but like I really, of the like 40 people that I think are going to be competing who have qualified, I'm going to say like 30 of them are going to be trans women. I think, so. Like that's just kind of the culture that they've developed for themselves, is kind of like being for a certain amount of people and like uplifting a certain community. There's still
So there's over 40 people competing,
in the 40 people who have qualified. to
and
compete.
then so how does that work? I know it's 2 days.
Yeah,
And to make it, how many people are making it to the finals?
12 or well 10 to 12.
10 to 12. So basically, like, does everyone show up to finals and they
Yes.
like eliminate people?
Yes.
Okay.
So like you do all of the first day, and then
Mhm.
you come back the second day, like everybody's there ready to go, and they're like, okay, let's figure out who are like top 10 or top 12 or whatever, and then from there it goes on.
Okay. So you still have to be like immediately ready to go
Literally
straight into
yes.
finals.
Yes.
Even if you're
yes.
not going to make it.
Yes.
Okay.
Like you need to be ready and prepared. I was gonna say there are some other pageants out there who are not very trans inclusive and still have like very kind of like transphobic
Call them out by name.
slogans.
Who is it?
We're not trying to be canceled. Yeah, we are. Just things like that. But even Continental had its own share of controversy because it's like they say you have to be born a biological male in order to qualify, and they weren't allowing body modification, and they had rules that said you couldn't have bottom surgery for the longest
Wait, this
time.
was Continental? I thought Continental was the answer to that.
No,
no.
Continental still did that. And
Still-
so until 2019, they got rid of the rule about bottom surgery. So Vanessa Van Cartier was the first first winner to like win after that rule.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I love her. What was she on? Holland? She was amazing.
She was Holland season 2.
Yeah.
And she won European Continental, went straight to nationals, and won the first time.
Yeah, and then she was the only queen for 2 years because of COVID.
Oh yeah, totally. I watched Trinity K. Bonet's package. Did you watch it when I sent it to you?
No.
Oh my god, her package was so good. I was gagged, and then I was like, "Who won this year? Like, who beat this or whatever?" And it was Vanessa Van Cartier.
Oh my god.
I was
yeah.
like, "Of course." It's
She's
like
perfection.
you
She,
just
like,
can't-
immediately won me over.
yeah,
So the best case for this year for you
yeah,
would be for you to win, then for us to enter into another global pandemic
yes,
for 3 years this time.
yes,
So
and then I
you
can
could
beat Vanessa Van Cartier
and be the reigning queen for 3 years.
Yes.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I will do my best to make that happen.
I don't even want to be a reigning queen for there.
That's a lot of traveling.
That's so much traveling.
Do
go
they
to
give
all
you
the
a
prelims.
budget? Probably not.
The promoters for each of the pageants have to pay for everything. So like Sunny Delight has been touring
Yeah.
this whole time and going to each of the preliminaries, and they have to pay for like a hotel and give her a fee and like do all that kind of stuff. If they want to put on one of the prelims, they have to do that. They have to agree to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what it is. We've spent so much money on gowns and hair and everything already. So let's hope it turns out good.
Worst case scenario, you're gonna have a lot of amazing outfits.
I'm gonna
wear
have
here.
gorgeous gowns. I'm gonna have
and
a handful of gorgeous
Not
gowns.
this.
Wow. I made this literally in like 30 minutes.
I could tell.
Wow. You're the worst. You told me to make this. Do you
No, I
remember
love
this?
this outfit. I love this outfit.
Because the Warriors had just beat the Celtics in
Girl, I don't know.
in the
The
sports
Warriors
games.
won something.
Yeah, in the sports games, and then I was performing in Boston like
That's
the next
right.
week, and I was like, I have to come out in some kind of gold. Like, how many times? Like, you know, are you gonna go from one city beating the other city? So I made the dress in like 30 minutes, and I put it in one of my numbers.
Shall we get into our mini and maxi?
Yes.
So our mini topic today is on Sarah Silverman suing Apple,
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Well, OpenAI, who owns ChatGPT.
For basically copyright infringement, alleging that OpenAI.
Yeah.
OpenAI is taking her content, her book, and uploading it as a way for their software to learn.
So like specifically, it's like they're getting these books from. They're scraping the internet. Do you know what scraping the internet means?
I know what scraping means. I don't know what scraping
Ew!
means.
Why? What's your nasty definition of scraping?
I don't know. My mind has something to do with fisting. And
Everything. Literally, you have the talent of turning everything into some nasty sex joke.
it's scraping when you don't trim your nails and you just like a pumpkin and you're like.
You're scraping out the insides of
The
somebody.
insides, yes.
That's great. That's wonderful. Scraping the internet is not like that. It's
No.
like where they make little bots that go around all these web pages and find information and pull them out of it. So they'll, go to a web page and be like, "Oh, here's some text about like, I don't know, Rosa Parks." And then they'll take everything from it and then put it in their library. But in this case, they are using those bots and they're scouring these kind of shadow libraries where people are keeping unlicensed copies of books, and they're taking the whole copy of the book and putting it into their servers.
Okay. Is scraping kind of like when you Google something and it shows you like a preview of like text on a website? Like it scraped the website for your answer and it's like showing it to you so you don't have to click on the link?
No.
No. Okay.
This is like if you were to, like, maybe if there was like a directory or something somewhere, like you could say the California Bar website, you know how you can see a list of like all of the attorneys that are licensed. It's like it will go to the little bots will go in and scrape all the information from there. They'll take it and be like, okay, this is this person, they live here. This is person, this is their bar number, blah blah blah, and then they'll like put it into a file on their own.
So I don't see what the problem is if it's already on the internet.
Well, this is a shadow library. It's not illegal. It's not a legal library.
Okay. So this is kind of like going into like Napster or something and like scraping the illegal downloads.
A little bit. I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, they're illegal downloads, but it's like they're alleging that like OpenAI knows that this is happening because when you enter a prompt like give me a summary of Sarah Silverman's book,
Mm-hmm.
it will turn it out. So it's like, where did you get this book? You know what I mean? Like, where are you scraping this to get a copy of this book?
Yeah. This case confused me a lot. Like there was a lot because in my mind I'm like, what couldn't you go to Amazon and get the summary and like take it from that, and that's something that's like publicly available? Like that to me just it seems a little like there's no causality there.
Interesting. I think interesting.
If it showed like the whole book, sure, but if
Yes.
it's just showing like little,
It could have gotten a summary from
snippets,
somewhere else.
it could have got from like Amazon, or maybe there was like little snippets in magazines that's publicly available,
Or like an interview with her or something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, to be honest, because I was like, oh yeah, they're just scraping shit off the internet. Like, there's no way they can get it. I'm sure in the complaint somewhere there's, more information about it, of like how they were able to know that it was scraped off of the internet. But for the most part, what is happening is like, you say, give me a summary of a book, or like write this for me on ChatGPT, then it gives that for you. So they're saying that it's able to know what the full content of the book is, scrape it, read it, and then give a summary of it.
And so Sarah's mad about summaries of the book, or are they doing like something else in
So
addition to it?
Because of that, they're alleging that they are storing, or they're like copying the book and putting it on their own servers, right? Which is an illegal copy of the book. Does that make sense?
Yes and no, but
It's an illegal copy of an illegal copy.
Illegal, okay.
Which I think, which is what I was going to ask you about, but yeah.
Okay.
So like, I was going to say, like, if you're copying an infringing copy, is that infringing itself? Like,
I would say yes. Like if you downloaded an illegal song and then gave it to someone else, that's still an illegal copy.
The third person is still liable.
My question is, if they bought the book or had the book at home and just uploaded their book, does that change things? Like, do they have a right to put their own book into their own database, or do they need permission from Sarah to do that?
That's still
because it's a legal copy then that you have first.
Well, are we talking about physical copy of a book?
Yeah, if you have the physical copy of the book and then you like scan it and put it into the data, or you have a physical, like you own a digital copy and you put the digital copy in.
No, that's copying. You're literally copying.
I get that. I guess I don't understand like what the problem is. Like they're putting it in a database, and the database is doing what, like, with it, aside from like giving people a summary?
They have a copy. They've made a copy of it, and that's illegal.
And are they using it to like write scripts as like
they're training
Chat,
their
GPT,
okay? There we go. So it's like they're using this. The whole problem with like AI to begin with, and like all these things, is that they're like using information that they shouldn't be using. First of all, kids, don't even get me started on the AIs. Like, just don't do AI, kids. Don't do the ChatGPTs. Stay away from the
ChatGPT. It's
no,
great for emails.
Ew. No. Okay. So here's it's just high bar plagiarism. Like, that's all it is. It's just like taking a whole bunch of shit that people have put in, mixing it around, and then pulling it out. So it's like and then what ChatGPT does is take all of this information, mix it around, and then like puts it out as a different product. Does that make sense?
I guess, so what's the difference between you watching all of Sarah Silverman's specials, making notes, and doing the same thing, versus just kind of streamlining it with a software?
There is a
Where's the copyright issue?
The copy of the book. They made a copy of the book.
I guess that's what I'm getting.
How do you not get this?
No, I get that they're making a copy. I guess I'm getting stuck on, like, is the problem because it was an illegal copy in the first place?
No. The problem is that OpenAI and Meta have made an illegal copy of Sarah Silverman's book.
It's confusing.
What? How are you not getting this? They
know,
made an illegal copy of the book.
And then they're not like distributing it or doing anything with it. It's like their own private little copy. So what does it matter?
Okay, so if you like copy a Rembrandt.
Yeah, if you copy a Rembrandt.
Oh well, that's not a good example. That's
to sit at your house.
No, this is like the example you just gave. Like, oh, if I copy an illegal song on my computer,
Yes, but they're not distributing the book.
It's still illegal to have it.
yeah.
You downloaded it on your Napster or whatever. For the kids.
So I guess
who's
my
the
question is,
Napster?
if you went out and bought the book and you made a copy of the book you bought,
That's an
just
illegal copy.
for your, I don't get that.
Why? Did you not go to copyright class?
I
You literally
did.
are making a copy.
But
It is
you're not-
literally a copy.
It does, yes, and I guess in theory it's like illegal, but like I don't see how it's actionable. It's for your own personal use. You're not trying to sell
That's
it.
not the threshold of like.
I know, but
What
think
you're
this
trying
case-
to say is you're making an argument that the law is wrong,
yeah,
or like that the law is not fair. Not what is the. You know the problem. The problem is it's a copy.
yeah,
You're saying, well, what's wrong with that?
yeah.
It's like jaywalking. You're like, oh, I know jaywalking is illegal, but who fucking cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well,
I'm
you
glad we
could have
got
said
there.
that.
I'm glad we got. Hey.
You're like, what's wrong with this?
My coffee's still kicking in. Leave me alone.
You're like, what's wrong? How is this? What's the issue? Of course, this is the issue. It's a literal copy. You can't. Do not photocopy things. Do
Fine.
not
So give Sarah Silverman $1 for nominal damages.
That's
and
that's
call it a day.
is what I don't think she's expecting to get anything out
So
of
they
this.
just don't want. I still don't get why she's upset.
You can't be making copies of people's books.
I get that.
Then that's why she's upset.
Okay. All right. Let's move on.
I'm yelling. You've got me yelling. We've only been here 20 minutes. And you've already got me yelling. It's okay. We can yell about more copyright law with the next one, with the Maxi Challenge.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about that one?
No, you talk about this one.
Wow, I talked about the last one, but that's fine. So there's this guy, Blake Farmer. He got a tattoo of Miles Davis by the famous tattoo artist Kat Von D.
Mm-hmm.
And Kat Von D used a reference photo of Miles Davis to make this tattoo. And now she's being sued by the photographer who made that photo, claiming copyright infringement.
Also think it's stupid.
Wow.
No, this one is a little bit more fun and a little bit more easy for me to wrap my head around.
Sorry for making things so hard.
And to clarify, it wasn't just the tattoo. It was also that she was posting pictures.
Oh yeah, that was an additional.
on social
yeah.
media that included, like, it was the tattoo next to the original inspiration of the
Oh,
photo.
I didn't see that one. I thought it was just a photo of the tattoo.
I think it was her doing the tattoo, and like right off to the side, she had the original photo there as like the inspiration.
I wanted to talk to you about this one for two reasons. One, because this was a hot topic. I mean, when we were in law school, like people were already talking about like, oh, what are tattoos? How does copyright, work with tattoos and blah, blah, blah. And we still didn't have an answer then, and we still don't have an answer now. Like, there's been a little bit more jurisprudence about it. There's been some cases about like video games where, like basketball players who have had tattoos and the artists recreate them for the video game. So it's like, is that allowed to recreate the tattoo? That type of thing.
I think in the past we've actually talked about. Didn't we talk about like Mike Tyson before?
Yeah, we talked about Mike
And
Tyson's tattoos on
How
his
his
face.
tattoo was, because it was featured in a
Yeah.
movie and it was featured on the poster and was like the topic of it.
But it wasn't Mike Tyson's tattoo. It was because they replicated it on the other character.
The other character, yes, yeah,
And it was like a literal copy of the same tattoo on the same place. So it's like, okay, that could be copyright infringement. In this case, the other reason I want to talk about it is because it implicates this new Warhol decision that we talked about a couple weeks ago, because it's using this reference photo again. Like, my whole thing from the Warhol case is like, how are you supposed to recreate, or how are you supposed to create art about a person without a reference image of that person? Like, I don't get how that is supposed to happen. But anyway, we can get to that point later, but let's talk more about like what the case was, where the court was talking, like what did they find out?
Yep.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for. Oh, it's my turn. All right. So the court, I believe, did a fair use. I don't remember which court it was. Was it the
Central
Ninth
District of
Circuit?
California.
Ninth Circuit?
Central District. Of
Central
California.
District. Okay.
Yeah.
They did a fair use analysis. I believe they sided with the tattoo artist. Is that correct?
So they ultimately remanded like everything. So when they say they remanded it, that means that they sent it back. Oh wait. Yeah, then they sent it back to the trial court. So then
Yeah.
it got sent back to the Central District of California, to determine like what the facts are. But then when they were looking at it, they were like, okay, let's look at this through two lenses. One is that there's this previous case, Rentmeester v. Nike, that said that various elements of a photo, like the pose and the lighting and the camera angle and all that kind of stuff, can't be dissected into protected and unprotected elements, right?
And in that case, it was two different photos of kind of like the Nike like reaching for the net with the like legs and arms sprawled out.
So picture in your head, that case was like the iconic Michael Jordan, like jumping up into the hoop with the legs spread, you know, and then he's kind of like in silhouette against it. And somebody,
two photos like that, different backgrounds, basically same pose, different.
Yeah. So like they were like, okay, if it's a photo, we really can't separate what's protectable and what isn't. It's all kind of just there, so we have to take it as a whole.
Yeah, it's the arrangement of everything. Yeah.
And so that case was like, okay, if you're trying to prove infringement, you need to show that it's the same or that there are some elements, like you need to show that it's substantially similar in a lot of ways. And in that case, the other photo that was at issue, it was like further away. He was further away from the basketball court. There was like he was like in front of a hill or something. And in the Michael Jordan one, there was like a cityscape or something like that. So there were quite a few differences, I would say, in it.
It was literally just the same pose, and maybe like the perspective of the guy was like the same measurement in each, or the same proportion in each picture.
I would say it evokes, you know, like the original, but it was not a complete copy.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
The lighting was different, the setting was different.
Yes. So based on that case, they're like, okay, well, we need the jury to determine whether or not this is substantially similar. And that was like one way they kind of looked through the problem to try and solve it. The other way was through the fair use factors.
Okay.
Now, tell me about the fair use factors. We've talked about the fair use factors many times. Do you want to run through them a little bit?
Yeah. So the fair use factors, there's 4 of them. Is the purpose and character of the work, whether there is a transformation being happened, the nature of the work, and the amount used. And that's basically kind of like, are you taking the whole movie and putting in? Are you taking a clip? Are you taking like the heart of the piece? Are you taking the most recognizable part of the song and kind of building your content around it? The effect on the market, kind of what we talked about previously in what's his name, the Warhol case, is that if you have 2 photos that are competing for magazine purchases, like you're working in the same market, like 2 things are going to have an effect.
Well, that's what the Supreme Court said, which was stupid.
Yeah.
They're like, obviously the market is just 2 people looking for magazine photos. It's like, no. Do you want the good photo or like a shitty photo? Like, anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Did I miss one? I feel like
no.
there was 3.
You said 2 at the same time. Nature of the work and the amount used are 2 separate ones.
Gotcha.
So like,
and it's not like kind of like if you have all 4, you automatically have fair use. It's kind of a balancing test that the court decides. So you don't really know anything is fair use until the judge tells you if it's not.
Yes. That's what we say all the time. It's like you can't say affirmatively at the beginning, we're like, oh, I'm planning to use this under fair use. It's like, no, like you really can't. It's infringement until you can bring the defense of fair use. But like it sounds like they spent most of their time discussing these fair use factors in relation to this like copyright of this tattoo thing. And I already think that that's like really dumb. Like, I don't think that we should even be talking about.
Oh, why? You don't understand copyright?
It's just copying.
It's a literal
just copy.
Extra. That's what it is.
Oh my god. I say that and make fun of you because you literally only went to like half of copyright class. It was only like 2 days a week, and you would only go to Thursdays.
Whatever. I was going through a rough time, and I still passed. I got to be in that class.
I think I got a B too. So good job.
Thank you.
No wait, I get it. I got an A. But like, I think it's just weird to focus on fair use, but I guess it's like the only defense that they were bringing. But like when we're talking about the purpose and character of what this tattoo is and is whether or not it's transformative, I think it's the same thing that I was yelling about with the Warhol case, which is like, if to me, if it's changing the artistic medium, it is innately like a transformation.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Like you can have a photo of somebody and recreate it with fucking macaroni or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it will look very similar, but it's quite obvious that it's not a literal copy. It's made of macaroni. You know what I mean? So in this case, I'm like, why are we even saying this? Like, it's obviously not a literal copy of this photograph. It's on skin.
I know we're in the maxi, but I'm gonna like take it right back. Like, couldn't you say the same thing about like scraping the internet? It's not the literal book. It's just you're changing the format to ones and zeros, and now it's just transformative.
Because the format is ones and zeros.
Not in the physical book.
But there's two separate copyrights.
Okay, all right.
There's a copyright in the digital file of the book, and there's a copyright in the physical book.
I agree with you that it's stupid, but I think it's stupid in both instances. That for the Sarah Silverman, you can make a copy to live in your database, but you can't make a copy to like live on your skin.
Yeah, I think to me, I love here. Like, I'm gonna challenge you. I'm like, I want to be challenged, bitch. No, but like, I to me, for some reason, the Sarah Silverman case is like more clear because it's like you're literally making a copy of a file. Like all the ones and zeros that are there, you're making a copy of that. And there's two separate things, right? It's like I said, there's the physical book and then there's the digital file of the book. And you're making a copy of the digital file.
I get that, and I think in both cases they're similar, but you need to have the like extra step. Like, what are you then doing with the copy? Like, what are you then doing with the tattoo? Are you taking the tattoo and then putting it on movie posters? Yes, that's when I think you enter into actionable copyright infringement. If it's just living in your database and you're not using it to write scripts or you're not doing anything more than providing someone a summary, I think it's kind of the same or it's not actionable. And that's where I was going with that earlier.
So, okay, so for this transformation,
Yeah.
I think it's just in and of itself, being in a different medium, sufficiently transformative. So they were saying, I literally wrote a copy as a copy. Like in order to infringe on this photograph, you need to make a copy of the photograph. Like that would be infringement to me. If you paint it, if you draw it, if you like make it out of macaroni, like that's obviously not a copy.
Okay. So if we're, in that case, we're kind of assuming that the person is looking at the photograph and freehanding the thing. What if
They created a stencil.
what if they created a stencil to then like do their work over it?
I still think
does that change it for you?
No. To me it's like the Warhol screen printing thing because it's like it's the fucking Supreme Court didn't understand that like to do screen printing you need to go through a whole mess of steps in order to get to that end result.
Yeah.
Like you need to know how to use a fucking tattoo machine and like how to do shading and how to do, you know what I mean? There's so much more technique in that than just literal copying. Like you've had many tattoos. It's like they come in like this flat 2D thing. It looks kind of like a stencil or whatever. But then they add depth, they add shading, they add color and all these different things. And they know how to work with the contours of the body and like that type of thing. Like there's so many decisions in the middle of that it's not a copy for me.
Okay, so your argument is like mostly in the transformation category where you're recreating the image, but there's enough artistic decision in recreating the tattoo that it transforms into something else.
Yes, it is literally being transformed from a photograph to a tattoo.
I agree with that. I would also, for me, like heavily lean into the purpose and character. Like if you're a fan and you want the tattoo, like the purpose and the character is for your own enjoyment. It lives on you, and unless you're a celebrity or in the public eye and your tattoo is getting reprinted in like movies or magazines, that's fine.
Can you remember if we table that?
Okay.
Because that's like one of the arguments that they tried to make that like the court was just like, we're not even entertaining it. But I think it makes a big difference. But anyway, so like the plaintiff or the defendant, so the lawyers for Kat Von D didn't make the arguments that I'm making. Like they were just like, oh, you know, it's kind of different, and like, yeah, she did this or whatever. It's like, no, like make a clear stand. Like, this is obviously a different medium. I don't understand why people don't get that. But then they moved on to the nature and the work of the amount used. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that one?
If I'm understanding it correctly, like if you're looking at the pictures, they pretty much look exactly the same. But if you're like paying attention to the details, you notice that like the shading's different in different places. The coloring's a little bit different, and I think that's where the nature and the work amount used. Like it does kind of evoke the heart of the piece because you're getting the same pose, you're getting the same image, but it's not like using 100% of what the original photograph used. Is that correct? Am I?
So
No,
I'll
I
say
don't
what
feel
the court
confident in
said. The court said the fact that it had been published the photograph had been published several decades ago
Yeah.
weighed in favor of the defendants being able to use it as fair use. And I was like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Like, who cares when the photo came out? Like, what does that have to do with
If
the
they were
nature?
making like a public domain argument, sure, but that's
That
not
was
what they were saying.
there was no
Yeah.
fucking photographs in public domain, like a few of them. And so like I don't get why they were even talking about that in the first place. And they said the amount and substantiality of the portion used weighs against a fair use argument and in favor of the guy. So they're saying that they used all of the photo, like you just said.
Yep.
So it's against Kat Von D because it's like they could have used a minuscule version of it or whatever. But again, how are you supposed to make a photo with just like, oh, here's somebody's ear? Like, you know what I mean? You have to use the whole image
Yeah.
in order to make the guy's face. Like, I don't get that. But they did say ultimately that, like, as with most cases, these two elements really don't make a huge difference in the calculus of courts. It's usually that first one, which is like the purpose and transformation or the effect on the market. And I also thought the arguments for effect on the market were really stupid.
What were those?
So they were saying like first of all, they're like, there's no evidence that the tattoo is a substitute for the private market.
Yeah.
Like, duh. Like,
Yeah, you're not going to take a picture of the tattoo
No.
and sell it to a magazine
Yes.
in place of the original picture.
no. And
Yeah.
no one's buying a picture of the tattoo. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
maybe if this person was famous, but like, no, like nobody's buying a picture of the tattoo. It's obviously not a replacement for it. But they said that there is a triable issue as to whether there was a market for future use of the image on tattoos.
Meaning that the original photographer would get into the tattoo business?
Would get
And
into the image licensing business
Oh.
for tattoos.
Yeah. Is that really like, I don't think that's like industry standard. Like, do you need a license?
This
I
is
mean-
where I was going. This is
Okay.
where I was going to go
Okay.
with it eventually. Is like, and I do agree where the court was saying, like, the court said that just because it hasn't been doesn't mean that you can't change procedures and start getting licenses for tattoos. Licenses for tattoos have become a thing because people like Kat Von D and all these other people have been getting sued for it. I was like, I want street art, and I knew that there was copyright in it, and I can't be the fucking lawyer who's like getting illegal like copyrighted things for it. So look at you. Is that X-Men? Are
yeah.
we? Okay,
no,
good.
well, you use that as an example. So you have a licensed tattoo.
I have a licensed tattoo. I have multiple licensed tattoos. So it's like I went and talked to the street artist who makes these honey bears named Finch in San Francisco. And he was very great about it and like wanted to collaborate about it. So, we went back and forth. Can I do this? What can we do that? Blah, blah, blah. So it's like, great. I was granted a license. I got license for all the other my tattoos.
You pay for a license. You can just like.
No, he gave it to for free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But he could have asked for payment for it. So it's like, it is a normal thing. And it's not to say that you can't start doing that. I think a tattoo license probably is the right thing to do.
Okay.
I don't know. When we get into like, are we licensing X-Men? Are
Yeah,
we licensing
so
whatever? Then I'm like,
Literally,
I don't care.
on the other hand or arm, I have an X-Men tattoo. I did not ask Marvel for a license or Disney. But actually, this is maybe a good hypothetical that's a little bit relatable to this. I have my tattoo has appeared in porn. Could Disney go and be like, "Oh my God, that's copyright infringement"? Like,
According to this, yes.
we need to like sue the porn studios for all the videos that you've been in and take all
Yes.
their money.
Yes. Yeah.
Could they like force me to cut it off and give it back to them?
That's the other thing too about these cases. I don't understand. Like, what is the remedy in this case? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, so you're gonna like pay damages, or like you can't just. In other times, it's like, oh, we'll destroy the copy or don't sell it anymore, or like whatever. It's like it's there. Like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? The article that we read was like all about like, oh, he's gonna have to chop off his arm and like blah blah blah. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
no. Like that's not. You can't do that. But like, I don't. I guess, you know, your arguments of like whether what the law is and whether it's right. It's like whatever.
Yeah, I think you are right that yes, the copying is illegal. But at the end of the day, like, what are you gonna do about it? Like that to me is like
Exactly.
why I think it's like
It's dumb.
What's Sarah Silverman's problem? What's their problem? Like you're not gonna cut off a tattoo. You're not.
Yeah.
You're probably not losing money from me having this.
Yeah.
I doubt. From a trademark perspective, I'm tarnishing
It's
Marvel's reputation.
and it's interesting to think about like different types of art.
Yeah.
Like to me, this street art or like somebody's painting or something like means a little bit more. Sorry, photographers, but like. You know what I mean? Like, because it's different and unique and like whatever. It's like a photograph it's a photograph. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing. And I think the subject of this too is an interesting thing to think about, because it's the same thing as the Warhol. It's like, how are we supposed to make a tattoo of Miles Davis without using a photo of Miles Davis as a reference? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's literally impossible.
And just to clarify, the guy who got the tattoo.
Oh,
he's-
yeah.
He's not getting sued.
No, that's the other thing I want
He's-
to talk about.
He's not in trouble.
No.
It's just the artist. So if you're out there wanting to get like an infringing tattoo, you're fine. It's just the artist may refuse to do it or ask for proof that you have a license.
In this case, they're not going after the person or
Could they,
whatever.
though?
I think they could. And like, who's liable then? Because it's like the tattoo artist, I guess, created it, but you were what, vicariously liable? Like, you were helping to make the infringement happen because you commissioned it.
See, I think this is where the fair use comes in, where it's the purpose and the character is for just personal enjoyment.
Yeah. See, I think that's a better argument.
Which
than
is
they
a
were
slippery
making.
slope, because if you're copying a song for personal enjoyment, then
Well, this is where we're gonna table. Perfect. So we're
Okay,
gonna table
okay.
to get back to this like other factor that the defense.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
When you went to go get tattooed
Yeah.
and you had this artwork that was clearly not your art,
Yes.
did the tattoo artist ask anything?
No.
Did you
But there are tattoo studios which will require you to get
a license?
yes, like
Okay.
they're getting smarter about it, I guess, or whatever.
Okay.
Like, they will ask you, or you know how you sign those little releases or like whatever.
Oh, that
now
says
they
that,
have
like,
it in there.
you've- Okay.
Yes.
That you attest that you have gone out and got
Yes.
consent to use it.
Yes.
And it releases them.
That you have all the rights and.
And
blah,
is that
blah, blah.
enough to release them? Do you think? They're
I think
still
so.
in essence copying.
But that they could be sued, but then they could come after you because
they put
you
the
had a false
liability
attestation. Yeah.
Back on you. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
A false attestation. So the last thing that they were trying to argue is that this whole thing, like, why are we holding tattoo artists civilly liable, and having them come to all this just because of that? Like, there should be some kind of bodily autonomy that people have in order, and like, to let them do what they want with their bodies and display their tattooed bodies without being in danger of infringing somebody. Like, I should be able to take pictures of me and my tattoos without being like, oh, you know, I'm gonna get sued.
Yes. Okay. So I agree that you, as the person that is tattooed, should be able to do that. I don't believe the same for the tattoo artist. I feel like if the tattoo artist is taking pictures of the work that they've copied to then post on social media as marketing to promote their business, I feel like that aspect is kind of infringing and is kind of like monetizing someone else's content in a way.
So, like, you're saying, so like you Kat Von D putting the tattoo on is fine, but you're thinking
Yeah.
like, because she's taking a photo of it and then
I separate them into two instances. I think actually doing the tattoo for me, the purpose in the character is for someone enjoying the tattoo, bodily autonomy.
Yeah.
And then the other instance, taking pictures and posting it, that's a commercial characterization of the content. And for me, that would require a license, maybe for the specific, like, promoting your business and social media.
I mean, you're not getting any money from that probably if you're just putting on social media, but I guess you can get money from promotion. I don't know. It's still whatever.
Okay.
I wish it's interesting because it's like I feel like these claims shouldn't be there. I feel like it's just you know what I mean? Like it's just a tattoo.
I get it, but I feel like if you're reposting the pictures on social media, it then turns it into an advertisement. For your business. If it's especially if it's on your Kat Von D professional business Instagram, that is now not just for someone's personal enjoyment. It is now a solicitation.
Yeah. I do think like some of it's dumb too because it's like
I think all of it's dumb.
Like,
I mean, if we're gonna get into the nitty gritty and discuss about it,
like because it's like, am I really gonna be upset if somebody gets like a Disney tattoo or a Marvel tattoo or like whatever?
Yeah.
It's like no, they've fucking so much money. Like who cares? Like whatever. But to me, it's like oh, if it's a local artist or like somebody you like admire, like whatever. It's like I think it's at the very least respectful to like go and say I really enjoy your work. Would you mind like doing that? Mm-hmm. At least that's the approach that I was thinking. Like I could.
So what if he said no, but you really wanted the tattoo?
I probably wouldn't have gotten it, but that's just me. Like,
okay.
You know what I mean?
But you got a specially designed one. So would you go and find one that already exists, or would you just walk away and be respectful?
No, I think I would just walk away.
Okay.
And be like, okay, because to me, I'm like, okay, it's not meant to be. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like the fact that he was like so excited about it, and he's like, yeah, let's work together and create one that you want for you, and like whatever, like that. I was like, okay, that's great.
I think for me, if the artist didn't want to create something, I would be obviously not force him to. But like, if there's something that exists online and I want it on my body, I think that's my choice to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's either. I think just for me, I'd be like, okay, no, but I wouldn't turn my nose up to you if you're like I was gonna do it anyway.
Like I really love the street art in San Francisco. You're getting off the bridge and it's like Mickey Mouse, but like half of his face is ripped off.
I wonder if that's a Gondak.
Tell me about that. I think it could be.
It's in San Francisco.
But I'm certainly not gonna go track down the artist. Like I would just take a picture of this and be like, hey, I really want.
Sometimes you don't even know who the artist is.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean. So it's like it is difficult.
Now is it enough to take the picture and kind of be like, hey, this is what I want, but like make it your own?
See, then it's like, is it transformative?
Yeah.
Like, how much transformative do you want it to be? And like, blah blah blah.
Like it feels like in this case he wanted an exact replica of the picture, but like I think it would also be different if you're like, hey, this is a starting point. Like, take this picture and give me the Lisa Frank version of it, or like, give me like.
That's pretty transformative to me. Like if you're like, take this Miles Davis and spin it with Lisa Frank, then it's like okay. And then Lisa Frank's going to come after you.
You're going to get tag teamed.
Amazing. Well, sorry for yelling at you before, but I think we got there.
We eventually got there.
And
I'm awake.
I think we fight like siblings, and that's okay because we sibling. We still love each other afterward.
Yeah. It's okay. You're the much older looking
Wow.
sibling.
You were literally like years older.
I said older looking sibling.
And I fucking hate that your skin looks so good.
I know. It's kills. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining for another episode of Reading is Fundamental. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Because reading is what?
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Reading is Fundamental.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so we can keep bringing you the show for free. As a reminder, Reading is Fundamental is brought to you by Fleshbot.com, the leading resource for gay erotica.
DM us with your comments, questions, and let us know what you want to hear.
Or you can email us at readingisfundamentalpodcast@gmail.com.
Until next time,
remember to read your damn contracts. Why?
Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
Fundamental.
Fundamental.